I've been playing a ton of Warframe lately and have had an absolute blast. I created a video after my first 50 hours in the game and reviewed everything I had experienced up to that point. If you're interested in watching that video, I'll make sure to link it down in the description below. Since then, I have played a whole lot more hours and have enjoyed every second of it. But Warframe can be an incredibly overwhelming game. There's a lot of things that I didn't know, a lot of things that I still don't know about the game. But I wanted to share with you guys some tips that I have learned along the way from a new player perspective. So hopefully this will help enhance your gameplay experience as a beginning Warframe player. So tip number one, and this is something that I didn't know for quite a while, you can buy weapons for credits. You can just outright purchase them and they'll go straight into your inventory. So you're eventually going to level up all of your current weapons and you're naturally going to want to acquire more. You can easily get a few new weapons as a new player just by heading over to the market in your orbiter. From there, you just look for weapons that are listed for sale for credits. You'll also see some for sale for platinum. We'll get to that here in just a moment, but there are specific weapons that are for sale just for credits. If you purchase one of these, you don't even have to craft it. It's a fully built weapon and you can just place it right into your inventory and then you can equip it and use it right away. But be aware that you only have a limited amount of weapon inventory slots, and once they're full, you're gonna have to purchase more using platinum, which is the game's real money currency. So that takes us into tip number two, which is what to spend your starter platinum on. So whenever you first start Warframe, you're going to be given 50 starter platinum. With this platinum, it is highly suggested that you purchase a weapon and Warframe inventory slots. You're going to be able to purchase 2 weapon slots for 12 platinum and 1 Warframe slot for 20 platinum. I personally recommend that you purchase 4 weapon slots, so you would just purchase it 2 times for a total of 24 platinum, and then 1 Warframe slot for 20 platinum. That's going to come out to a total of 44 platinum. That's going to give you 4 extra weapon slots, 1 Warframe slot. And doing this is just going to allow you to own more items, which is going to be huge for you as a new player. I think spending that platinum on anything else other than slots, at least from my experience, would be kind of a waste. So that is what I'd recommend doing as a new player with that 50 starter platinum. And tip number 3 is going to be buying blueprints. So another way to acquire weapons and companions is to purchase the blueprints from the market. So unlike buying things just for credits outright, you are now going to be able to buy the blueprints. I honestly did not know this was a thing for a very long time because whenever you look at the market, everything is listed there for platinum. You have to actually click on the weapon and then down below you will see an option to purchase the blueprint for credits. You can buy a ton of weapon blueprints doing this, and this will get you started making things in your foundry, and then once you get things going in your foundry, your gameplay experience will be a whole lot better. So once you've purchased the blueprint, you then just go over to your foundry and you'll see the blueprint there. You can craft that item once you have the required materials, but bear in mind that doing this is going to take several hours and sometimes days in the case of a Warframe to complete the craft. So it's a great idea to just always have a lot of items in your foundry. So every time you can craft something, a new item, a new Warframe, I highly recommend that you go on ahead and craft that. But bear in mind that you cannot purchase every blueprint in the game from the market. You are going to need to farm quite a few of them for both Warframes and weapons through various missions in the game. You can, of course, purchase things with platinum as well, but the things that you can actually purchase from the market is fairly limited, but this is a fantastic way to get you going as a new player. Once I discovered this, it opened up my gameplay experience a ton. I didn't know this for a very long time, so hopefully this will help speed up you guys' progress, and hopefully this is a good tip for you to get going in the game. That leads us right into the next tip, which is a quick way to see where to farm resources on the star chart. So in order to craft your items in the foundry, you're of course going to need various resources. A very quick method of seeing where to farm them is by checking your star chart. And when you're looking at the star chart, you can click the option that says resource drones. From there, you can click a specific planet and then you can click the little resource extractor icon. This is going to display the resources that drop from that planet. This can be very useful and a very quick way to figure out what items drop from what planet, so you can go farm those very quickly. And then while you're in those missions gathering a whole lot of resources, sometimes you may find yourself stuck in a wall or in a hole or fall through the map in a mission that you just can't get out of. So if you find yourself in one of these weird situations, you can utilize a command called the Unstuck command. All you have to do is type /unstuck in the chat, and then your Warframe is going to be moved from the stuck location And oftentimes this can save you from having to abort the mission and restart it. This can be very useful for a new player and something that I have found a lot of people just aren't aware of. So now let's talk about progression for just a little bit. If you get stuck and you're not real sure what to do or how to progress, and I don't mean stuck literally like we were just talking about, I mean just stuck with your progression and you're not really sure what to do next in the game, you just simply need to go to the star chart and start clearing nodes and junctions or do quests. Because whenever you clear the star chart, this is going to reward you with some mastery rank experience and progress towards your next junction. Then every time you complete a junction to another planet, you're going to unlock various things like quests and other progress points. This is going to unlock new systems in the game. It's going to really start to open the game up for you. You can view the codex for quests and see which ones you have completed and which ones you still need to do. And if you can't begin a quest, you're also going to see the prerequisites listed there. So then you're going to know what you need to go do to start that quest. That'll give you something to work on. And then you can sort your quest by the story quest, the side quest, and the Warframe quest. Whenever you complete a main and side story, these are oftentimes going to open up brand new systems in the game and allow you to experience a whole lot of Warframe. Warframe quests, on the other hand, are going to reward you with the Warframe blueprint and then a means to farm that particular frame. So those are also great to work through as well. So again, if you get stuck, just go to the star chart, start progressing through those nodes, and you will eventually get to a junction. Use that junction. Make sure you do all the prerequisites for that junction. That's going to open up a lot of the game for you. And then if you don't have any of those to do, go to your codex and check your quest and start knocking those out. And then as you progress through these things, the game is just going to open up. You're going to unlock a lot more systems. And it seems like in Warframe, you are never going to run out of things to do. As a new player myself, there is just so much to experience and so much fun to be had. So you can always make sure you're kind of progressing towards something. Just try not to get super overwhelmed in the process and take it nice and slow because the game is massive. And then another form of progress in the game is what's called your mastery rank. So your mastery rank in Warframe, or your MR, is basically just an indication of how much total content you have experienced in the game. Although this does unlock a lot of things for you, it doesn't really have a direct correlation to how powerful your character is. Like a traditional MMO, for example, whenever you level your character, you're going to get much more powerful. In Warframe, it kind of is like that. You do unlock a lot of new things, but it's basically just an indication of what all you have completed in the game. And then it unlocks new things for you as you go, which is quite nice and pretty important. So you're going to want to level up your mastery rank as you progress in the game. In order to increase your mastery rank, you're going to need to level up different items in the game. You're going to receive MR experience for leveling up like your weapons, your warframes, your companions. And then whenever you complete the star chart node for a first time, you'll also receive mastery rank. Once you reach enough MR experience, you're going to be able to complete a mastery rank test. Whenever you successfully complete this test, you will then, of course, advance to the next mastery rank level. And you're going to want to complete that test as soon as it pops up because this can only be done once every 24 hours. And then as mentioned before, whenever you level up your mastery rank, it will unlock the ability to use some new weapons. It's going to unlock some new quests. It's going to give you a lot of benefits and other systems in the game. So you're going to want to unlock or rank up your mastery rank as you go. If you fail one of your mastery rank tests, though, you're going to have to wait 24 hours before you can do it again. But you can practice these ahead of time. So you can do this by clicking on the mastery rank level up option and then selecting practice in the bottom right hand corner. You can also head to any relay and go to the Cephalon Samaris room to practice these tests. So the tests are lined up in stations in this room along the right hand side of the stairwell. It's highly recommended that you practice every level prior to actually attempting it. A lot of these levels are incredibly easy. Some of them are a little bit more difficult, but it will give you a much better chance to pass the test on the first time around. So you don't have to wait that 24 hours before you attempt it again. And it's also really important to point out here for a newer player that you're not going to lose excess mastery points if you reach maximum points for a particular rank and you haven't advanced up to the next rank yet. So the points do carry over to the next rank. So feel free just to continue to level your weapons, your frames, your companions, even if you're ready for an MR test. So if you fail an MR test, for example, and you have to wait 24 hours, that doesn't mean that you have to stop leveling other weapons and frames. You still can do that, and that mastery point progress will carry over and you don't lose any of that progress. So the next tip I have for you guys is one related to modding. So the modding in Warframe is pretty vast. It can be very confusing for a newer player. I still fully don't understand all of it, to be perfectly honest, but I am getting a grasp on how to build my Warframes a little bit better as I go. But as a newer player, there is a feature called auto modding. Now, this isn't something that you really should rely on too terribly much, and it's very much recommended that as you progress, you're going to want to learn how to mod and not rely on auto modding forever. However, in the beginning, the auto mod feature can be super useful to help you get started, and it did help introduce me into modding in general, and I was just able to throw a lot of mods onto my Warframe quickly so that I could kind of get a little bit more powerful. But now I don't really use it as much, but in the beginning it can be very useful, so just wanted to make you aware that this is a feature. So to auto mod, you just need to make your way to the arsenal in your orbiter, and then from here you're going to select the upgrade option on one of your weapons or warframes. Then you just select the actions option at the bottom of the screen, and then the first option is called auto install. Click that option and then it's automatically going to add mods to your weapon or your frame. This leads us into our next tip, which is to spend your endo wisely as a newer player. So whenever you're modding out your warframe or your weapon, you will also notice that you can do what's called fusion. Well, fusion just makes a mod more powerful, but in order to make that mod more powerful, it's going to cost you credits and a resource called endo. So endo is something that you're going to need a ton of, and obtaining a whole lot of it early on can be very tough. I got stuck on this quite a lot. So it's highly recommended that you spend your endo wisely as a new player and you don't just splurge it on a lot of unnecessary upgrades. So for example, there's several mods that have 10 levels of upgrades. It's going to be very tempting to try to upgrade them fully if you're kind of a completionist like me, but you're going to want to resist that urge because the endo cost of fully upgrading those types of mods is crazy high for a new player, like 20,000 endo to upgrade a mod fully. So it's perfectly fine to not fully upgrade these mods early on, and then you can upgrade them by a few levels. You're still going to gain a ton of benefit out of that mod, and it's going to save you a ton of endo. So just be wary whenever you have a mod that has 10 levels on it. You can upgrade it 5, 6, 7 times, still get a lot of benefit out of that mod and not waste a massive amount of endo as a newer player. The next tip is related to how to get some free items as a brand new player. So there is a system in the game called the Nightwave. I didn't really know what this was for quite a while, so then I started looking into the Nightwave, and it's basically just a season pass for every Warframe player. It's free to everyone. So you can access the Nightwave by using the Nightwave menu in the bottom right of your screen, or you can utilize the Nightwave terminal in your orbiter. So at the top of the Nightwave menu, you'll see which rewards you can receive at what level. At the bottom, you're going to see the tasks that you're going to need to complete and how much experience they're going to reward. There's both weekly and daily challenges in the Nightwave. As a new player, you're not going to be able to complete all of those Nightwave challenges, but there may be some that you're going to be able to do. So it's definitely worth checking each day and then each week to see if there's anything you can complete. And then as you progress your Nightwave levels, there's going to be some pretty nice rewards you can receive, like some weapon slots that we talked about a little bit earlier that you had to spend your 50 platinum on. Well, you can get those for free from the Nightwave experience if you choose to do it. I highly recommend you check this out and do the ones that you can do. And then we have the Syndicates. So once you reach Mastery Rank 3, you're going to be given access to a new system called Faction Syndicates. So you can access your Faction Syndicate menu at the terminal in the front of your orbiter, and then from here you can choose a syndicate. So these are just basically interest groups from different factions in the game, and you can join them to be allied with that faction. So this is going to allow you to rank up your reputation within that syndicate or faction. And this is important because there's some really nice rewards you can obtain from these syndicates as you rank up. So while you're in the syndicate menu, you can view the offerings of each syndicate just by clicking on one of them within that menu, and then you select view offerings. From there, you can see what rank you'll need to achieve to purchase a particular item. And there's many different mods, weapon parts, and more from each syndicate. So you can kind of browse those, see what you want. You can join a syndicate, and then you can work your way towards getting those items by gaining rank with that syndicate. So the really nice thing about the syndicate standing is that you can just earn it passively. So once you join a syndicate, you're going to gain a percentage of your experience for missions towards that syndicate. So just by joining one and playing the game, you're going to progress your syndicate standing. Look and see what offerings and rewards are interesting to you, and then join that syndicate, and then you can work towards those as you just play the game. But bear in mind, if you ally with a particular syndicate, it is going to reduce your standing with one of the other syndicates because they're kind of at odds. But you can always ally with any syndicate you choose. You can switch this up at any time and work your rank back up, and you can obtain all the rewards from each syndicate. So don't worry if you choose one or you don't like the one that you chose. You can change that whenever you want. And then the last tip I wanted to give you guys is related to the Duviri Paradox. So if you watched my 50-hour review, and again, I'll make sure to link that down in the description below. As a new player, you are given the Duviri Paradox quest very early on in your Warframe experience. It is incredibly important to point out to you as a newer player that you're going to have absolutely no idea what's going on with this quest, with this story, and you're just going to be completely lost if you choose to do this quest early. And there's also going to be several mechanics within Duviri that you're just going to have no idea about. So if you choose to do this quest early, don't stress about not knowing anything about it, because I thought I needed to know what was going on. You don't need to know what's going on with Duviri this early on. You're going to learn this as you progress more in the game. So if you choose to do Duviri early on, just simply complete the quest and then kind of move on. However, there is a big upside of completing Duviri early on. It can be very beneficial to a new player. So once you complete Duviri, you're going to unlock what's called the circuit. And completing the circuit is going to reward you with all the components you need to craft a new Warframe. You're going to get to choose between 3 Warframes each week, and it's a great way to farm new Warframes for a newer player. You're also going to get to experience new weapons and frames during the circuit. So every time you play the circuit, you get to choose a Warframe and a combination of weapons before you begin, and this allows new players to experience new things that they otherwise wouldn't get to experience early in the game. So if you do choose to do Duviri early on, this is one of the big benefits. Just make sure you don't stress too much about the journey to get there, because it's not going to make any sense to you, and that is okay. That's going to do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I have really been enjoying my time in Warframe. I have been basically no-lifing it. I am very addicted to the game at this point. It is super fun. So hopefully some of these tips helped you guys out a little bit from a newer player experience or a newer player perspective. These are some of the things that I learned that I really wish I would have known a little bit earlier on, like being able to buy weapon and companion blueprints, for example. I didn't know you could do that for a very long time. I just kind of stumbled on it in the market. And whenever I learned that, it helped me out tremendously. I bought up all the blueprints. I started crafting a ton of items, and it just made my gameplay experience so much better, because I was able to rank up my mastery rank. I was able to progress, and it just felt really nice trying out new weapons and new experiences within the game. So hopefully some of these other tips helped you guys out a lot as well. And if you enjoy Warframe, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate that. It helped me out a ton. And that'll do it for this one, boys and girls. We also stream every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday over at twitch.tv/BDLG. Have an excellent time over there. Would love to see you come by and hang out. It's a lot of fun. That'll do it. Thank you guys again for watching. I greatly appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.